Hey gang, this is the third video in my beginner series for folks who are new to handguns and want to learn about handguns, and we're doing everything from the ground up. Please, thanks to everyone who has subscribed since I started this series and who have been loyal subscribers of mine for the last couple of years when I wasn't putting any videos out at all. And that, as you can see now, that's changing. Thanks for hanging in there. Thank you to the new subscribers, and for those of you who are interested in what I got to say, please don't forget to subscribe and find me on Facebook. Okay, my public page is Sentinel Firearms Training LLC, and my private page is Russ Richards. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. So as promised, we talked about today, we were going to work on those guns that I like to buy, the ones that are easy to take apart and the ones that fit my hand. So we're going to take some guns apart. For every time you shoot your gun, you know, you should want to clean it and maintain it, keep an eye on it. This gives us an opportunity when we clean our guns to, you know, check and see if we damaged them in any way. If they're going to be up and running and they're going to be good to go, and if it's a personal defense firearm, you never want that thing to stop running on you because it's dirty. So you always want to clean it. All right. I didn't get my cleaning supplies here, so I'm going to pause here for a second and grab my cleaning supplies. And we're rolling again. All right, that didn't take long. I know. I'll preface this. I'm going to set this up because I'm going to show you guys how I clean guns and what I use to clean them. And by God, I spare no expense. I'm taking care of what it takes to take care of my quality firearms. That being said, I hope I should get some criticism on my techniques and what I use. And please, that's what the comment section's for. So let's get some discussion started. My system has been working for me, and I think it might work for you. I see. This video stuff is really giving me a challenge. Okay, so first thing we do is we got our gun, right? We found a gun, we fit it to our hand, we like the trigger pull. We always kept it pointed in a safe direction. We haven't put any ammunition in it yet, or maybe we have. I don't know, because every gun is always loaded, so I got to check it, right? I want to clean my gun. You might want to clean and lubricate your gun before you shoot it for the very first time, because they don't always put lubrication on them. Now that being said, some manufacturers put a break-in lubricant on their gun, so you don't, if it looks like it's been greased or lubricated, like Glocks. I'm not sure if they still do. I've been out of the loop, but traditionally Glocks had a lubricating grease on their gun. Don't rub that off. Just check your barrel for obstructions before you load that gun up and shoot, and go ahead and break that gun in with that grease. You know, the first 50, 100 rounds or whatever. If if you clean the grease off, whatever, and re-lubricate it when you clean it. So that's what you're doing, is you're cleaning all of that gunk out, all of that gunpowder ash that you get when you shoot cartridges out of your gun, and then you're gonna want to lubricate the gun when you're done, because all these metal parts rubbing together will wear out if you don't lubricate them, and they won't work smoothly if you don't lubricate them. Okay, so I got my gun, and I'm gonna put my finger on that magazine release button. First thing we ever do whenever we pick up a gun, ever and always, okay, is keep it pointed in a safe direction. And the second thing we do is keep our finger away from the trigger. And the third thing we do is remove that ammunition source or that magazine. We push the button and the magazine fell out, okay? Then we're gonna take that overhand grip like we talked about in the first video, and we're gonna put our thumb on the slide lock lever, which is right here on this gun. We're gonna push that slide lock lever towards the ceiling, and it won't move very far. And we're gonna push this hand this way and this hand that way, and that side lock lever should go up into the notch on the slide that will lock that slide open for us. And we can now inspect our gun with our fingers and with our eyeballs to make sure that it is not loaded and it is not loaded. Okay, so now I know my gun's not loaded, so I'm not going to accidentally shoot myself while cleaning my gun. It's always been a big deal for me not to do that. So this gun, because I read the owner's manual, okay? I read my owner's manual like I'm like a good gun owner, like I'm supposed to. I found out that it has a takedown lever inside the trigger guard in front of the trigger, and that's this black thing right here. And I can access that lever with a fingernail, and I can break my fingernail at the same time. So I'll try another fingernail, and I'll push that lever down. All I did was I got underneath that lever with my fingernail, and I pushed it down, my thumbnail actually. So if you want to use nails, go for the thumbnail. It seems to be working for me. Now I can release the tension on the slide because I read that in the owner's manual. Okay, and I'm going to lift up and then let the slide go forward. I'm going to set the frame down, and the guide rod and recoil spring will fall out of the gun. All right, so this is my guide rod and my recoil spring, and this little coil spring right here does all the work. All right, this thing runs your gun for you. All right, so these will wear out if you shoot a lot, but they don't cost a lot to replace. We're not going to worry about that right now because we haven't fired anything out of this thing yet, right? At this point, I have a slide, I have a recoil spring and a guide rod, and I have a frame with the barrel attached to the frame. Okay, now I'm going to show you a different semi-automatic that comes apart almost the same way, but with different results. Okay, so here's my other favorite starter pistol, the Smith & Wesson 380 EZ. Push that button right there on the side of the frame, in front at the top of the grip. Magazine falls out. Keep that barrel pointed in a safe direction. Finger away from the trigger. Push that slide lock lever up. Push that slide back. And now I've got everything locked in place. I'm going to visually inspect and with my finger. Now this takedown lever is on the side of the gun. And what I've done is it's knurled, and my owner's manual told me what to do with it. So I'm going to do that. And now I got the slide lock lever down. I'm going to go ahead and release the takedown lever down. I release the slide lock lever, and the slide will slide right off the top of the frame. Okay, this one has a captive recoil spring, which is blocked at both ends, so the coil spring doesn't go flying across the room when you take it apart. And this one though has the barrel in the slide, and the barrel comes out. So whereas this one had the barrel mounted securely to the frame of the gun, this is a blowback operated pistol. Generally, that recoil system is used in smaller calibers, and this is a recoil operated pistol, and this system is generally used in larger calibers, and it's just a safety feature. It's a safety thing they do because of the added chamber pressures. Okay, the gun acts a little different way. Oh my gosh, I dropped my barrel. I dropped my barrel on the table, and that's not going to hurt anything. What you don't want to ever do is drop your slide on the floor, or on the table, or drop your frame, because there's parts that are inside the frame that are sticking out of the top of it, things like that could get dented. And this little ring here at the end of the slide is so hard, this metal is so hard and brittle that it could shatter when it hit the floor, if it hit a hard floor. Okay, so you never want to drop your slide. All right, as far as scratches and things like that, yeah, if you want to take care of your baby, you want to take care of your gun, if you want to get all attached to it and stuff and worry about what it looks like all the time, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you. I don't worry about that stuff because I'm going to scratch it out on the range. Of course, I'll try not to put too many scratches on it, but it's not a big deal for me. I actually have a Glock slide that I did drop, and it cracked open, and I smoothed off a little bit of the cracked part, and it works just fine. Okay, we'll look at that some other day. All right, so this is my carry pistol. We'll take my carry pistol apart. This is a Glock. All right, I have already removed the ammunition source because that's going to get old after a while watching me, tell you to do that a million times. With a Glock, you want to wrap your thumb underneath the beaver tail, put your hand over the top of the slide, and use that rear sight for some purchase there, and then squeeze it back. And I'll do a press check real quick to make sure it's not loaded. Okay, yep, I see it's not loaded. Okay, so I'm going to push that back, and then the takedown levers are on the side of the Glock. It's a spring. It's a leaf spring basically inside the gun. You got to push down on both sides, index finger and thumb, at the same time. Release, continue to hold it down, and pull the trigger. Do I want to make sure this gun's not loaded before I take it apart? Yep. All right, this one has a captive recoil spring that flew out when I took it out. And this one has actually a custom barrel that I bought for the gun because it wasn't cool enough without it, so I had to get it, and so I got it, and that's all there is about that. Now, I got the captive recoil spring. My Glock is a Generation 3. There's 5 generations of Glocks right now. Mine's a Generation 3. Shoots as good as any of them. Not going to get too complicated here. This is a Springfield Armory XD. I'll put the magazine in just to show you once again. This one has an ambidextrous magazine release button, so you can access it with either hand if you're left-handed or right-handed. Drop that magazine out. I'm going to push that slide back, lock that slide open. This one has a takedown lever too. And I think you're all starting to see a pattern here, right? Takedown lever. Okay, there's a pattern here. Got to pull the trigger on that one too. Okay, there's a pattern here in that they all come apart pretty easy. And guess what? They go back together again almost as easy. All right. So now I got all these different modern semi-automatics taken apart to show you how easy it is. All right. But so you want to know, right? Don't you want your gun to come apart as easy as these did? Yeah. Here's a revolver. Maybe you're a revolver guy or gal. All right. So with revolvers, you simply open up the cylinder with the cylinder release latch, push that cylinder out, verify that it is not loaded, and that is as far as you're going to take this gun apart to clean it. Okay. Now, I don't want to sit here for an hour. We'll work on cleaning and things like that later. If I can't get done here in another 4 minutes, but I will see what I can do. Or if you guys just are thirsty for a longer video than 15 minutes, let me know. Put it in the comments. Probably going to see a lot of, how about 5, Russ? How about 5 minutes? Okay. Most of your guns, if you buy them today brand new, will probably come with their own cleaning brush. You don't need anything fancy. All right. Yeah, this will wear out if you use it a lot, if you shoot your gun. Okay. Most people don't. I'd say 90% of the shooters, no, I'm sorry. I would say 10% of the shooters shoot 90% of the ammunition. We've heard that about fishermen, right? 10% of the fishermen catch 90% of the fish because they're the ones that are out there fishing. Okay. So 10% of the shooters probably shoot 90% of the ammo. Okay. That's just the way it is. So a lot of guns don't get shot, but the ones that do need to be cleaned. So I got my brush and I have some cleaning solvent. You can buy this at Walmart. You can get it anywhere. You can get it at your local gun shop. I'm going to put some, mine's a spray bottle. I'm going to spray into that barrel and I'm going to push that rod into the end of the barrel like this. And someone's going, never clean your gun from the muzzle end. Okay. I'm going to go to the breech end. That's the back end of the barrel. And I'm going to push it through there. And okay, in order to save time, I'm not going to show you that I probably do it 20 times. But I will inspect the barrel to see if 20 times was enough. Right? And you simply just hold the barrel up to the light, look through the barrel, and look for it to shine. If you got a good barrel, it's probably going to be nice and shiny in there. You're going to be able to see the rifling grooves little spiral lines in there that impart spin to the bullet. Actually, the lands, the spaces in between the grooves, impart spin to the bullet that stabilize it in flight and make it fly straight. I'm basically just scrubbing on this thing right now with my thumbnail inside my t-shirt. And everyone out there, okay, all you germaphobes, or not germaphobes, but everybody out there that has some common sense and doesn't want to die from chemical poisoning will be screaming right now, use rubber gloves. All right. It's too late for me. Forget about me, folks. Save yourselves. Okay? You get your own rubber gloves and you use rubber gloves. All right? This isn't a this isn't a hazmat video. It's a gun cleaning video. And am I being a bad example? Yeah, you bet. All right? Now, as I told you before, I spare no expense. I'm going to take that old t-shirt and I'm going to wrap it over the end of a wooden clothespin, or more importantly, half of a clothespin, which, as you know, in his infinite wisdom, God made clothespins the exactly same size as the grooves and the guide brackets, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they're called, on the frame of my gun, so I can take that clothespin and shove it up underneath there and scrape all that gunk out of there. Look how black that got. All right, isn't that awesome? I know it was black to start, right? All right, so I'm just going to rub on that a little bit. And you know, we talked about before unloading your gun, checking it to see if it's loaded every time, and doing this kind of stuff. If you are going to sign up with a firearms instructor in your area and take a safety course, a basic safety course, and you see any live ammunition anywhere in that classroom, inside the classroom where you are studying and learning about firearm safety, get out while you can. Okay, it's not. It is verboten. Okay, if I can speak French here, it is a really bad idea to have live ammunition anywhere near a basic firearm safety class, because ammunition has a funny way of finding its way into a gun. When you do clean your gun, I don't want any, please, I would not want to see any ammunition anywhere in the room. If you can help it, get that ammunition as far away from you as you can, because it'll have a real funny way of getting its way into the gun. Okay? Yeah, that, he shot himself while cleaning his gun thing. Yep. Sometimes that's how it happens. Somehow that ammunition got into that gun. So now I have used my clothespin like a boss, and I scraped the rails on the gun, and I'm going to do the same damn thing with the slide, and I'm just making a mess here. I'm rushed for time because I got a casserole in the oven, and it's going to be, my alarm's going to go off in about 5 minutes. So you might have to put up with me for 5 more minutes, but then I got to run. Same thing with the clothespin, right through the grooves in the slide. Fits right in there perfect. And I use a wooden clothespin because it won't scratch my metal, okay? You know, they don't put clothespins in the gun cleaning kits that you buy in the store, so I don't buy a gun cleaning kit from the store. Yeah, you buy your gun cleaning solvent from the store, but I know. Bring the criticism. Here it comes. All right, I'm scrubbing, and I'm going to use my old toothbrush. Okay, it's not, I say this in class all the time. It's not my old toothbrush. I bought it brand new just to clean guns with. So that's what we're going to use to scrub on all the other surfaces of the gun with a toothbrush. I can get on the, I call it a bolt face. It's at the back of the slide. It's I guess it is a bolt. It's a bolt. But it gets a lot of that gunpowder ash on it. This is going to be a 20-minute video, isn't it? Sorry. All right. It can take this long to clean a gun when you're me and you love to hear yourself talk. Finding that out. Yeah, okay. Normally I do spend 10 or 15 minutes cleaning these things. I clean my carry pistol often, although you couldn't tell by how long it's taken me to clean this because it's pretty dirty. But I shoot really cheap, crappy, junky, gunky ammunition. And everyone says I shouldn't do that. I'm breaking all the rules. And they tell me I shouldn't shoot that steel-cased Russian ammunition that you see because it's bad for my gun and everything. But I still do because it's cheap. Nowadays, ammunition is inexpensive compared to what it was 5 years ago. So get it if you can now while you can. My carry pistol is a 9mm, and I don't put oil on my recoil spring. I don't put oil on my recoil spring because it collects dust. Oil collects gunk, and I don't want that spring getting all gunked up. Now that I've cleaned everything, I'm going to spray my slide, and I'm going to spray my barrel because they rub together, and I don't want scratches on my barrel. And I'm going to put the barrel back inside the slide. What I did was I just took the barrel, held everything upside down, put the barrel back in the slide, dropped it like that. Then I'm going to look at my recoil spring and try to figure out the right way to do it. That's not the one I want. This is the one I want right here. I know he's off the hook, right? Maybe this isn't even the one I want. I'm going to guess it is. I'm going to compress it and push it down in that little notch in the barrel. I think that's all the parts I need. I did not lubricate my rails on my frame. So I did now. I have a lot of extra oil coming out of the gun as I work it with my finger off the trigger and the barrel in a safe direction. Okay. I lock it open. I got 4 minutes left. Casserole is going to be done. All right, I have a threaded barrel, okay, for one of them really cool suppressors. And guess what? I'm going to put my hand in front end of the barrel now. Do I want any ammunition around? No. Now we're into 20 minutes. These tutorials could take forever, can't they? All right. I put my thread protector back on the end of my custom Tactical barrel. All right, I wipe it down a little more. I drop the slide. I take my firing grip and I point it in a safe direction and I squeeze the trigger. I rack the slide again. I reset and I point it in a safe direction, squeeze the trigger, do it again. I think it's going to work. I think I got it back together right. Talked about in that last video about trigger reset. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you the trigger real quick, briefly, okay? Casserole's almost done. Okay, click. And I'm going to rack that slide and I'm just going to release the trigger long enough to feel the reset. That's it, right there. I don't have to go all the way out like this with the trigger if I don't want to, okay? Squeeze. Squeeze. Squeeze again. That's a kind of an intermediate drill that you do with your trigger, okay? Because, you know, you can have a negligent discharge or you can have an accidental discharge when you're trying to work that trigger reset. So you always want to, you know, have good control of your gun and not be spooked by it. Be right up close to your berm or whatever it is that stops bullets before you start messing around with that stuff. Possibly want to maybe learn how to do that in front of a qualified instructor. Okay, and then, but it's a really cool way to learn how to shoot fast and accurately because you don't impart a lot of movement to the gun with very little trigger movement. All right, I'm going to wipe all that stuff I sprayed on this Smith & Wesson down. You know, real quick, I guess since I got you for 22 minutes, my casserole isn't done yet. I'm going to put this Smith & Wesson back together. I got all these barrels out here. And there's my guide rod goes back into Smith & Wesson, drops like that, and the slide goes back on, and I lock it open, and I push the takedown lever back, and I drop the slide, and I work it a few times, safe direction. Gun won't fire because it has a magazine disconnect safety on it, okay? And it has a safety lever on. I deploy the safety lever and squeeze the trigger. Okay, so that was pretty slow and easy to figure out, right? Get a gun that comes apart easy. Get a gun that goes back together easy. You'll have more fun with it and you won't mind cleaning it. I guess that was the point of this video. Let's all stay safe out there. Thanks for putting up with this. Let's all stay safe.